It seems forever ago now that VK were ahead of IG, but now, oh my goodness, they are nowhere near. They were gone from 6-2 to 6-8 have VK. Meanwhile, IG have gone all the way up to 10-4 in the same time. And XC and Tianming this week, both having brought Demon Hunter. Last week was the Demon Hunter nerf, and we saw some teams not bring it, but they brought it this time. And as you can see, IG getting doing the nerfing, of the Demon Hunter. IG getting to play it, but losing their warrior. And normality seems to have returned. And it's returned in more ways than one as well, because we're opening up with a good old-fashioned Druid mirror. This is often the opener of choice, as both sides look to see how they're going to use their last hero standing counters. A little bit weird here from IG this week. They have brought the Mage. XC seems to be good at Priest from what I've been hearing and seeing, but no Priest for him this week. And Tianming with that Quest Warlock as his unusual deck, the fourth deck. He's off to a good start here, though. Obviously, I don't know how many times I can say it differently, so I'm going to say it the same. First person to make the glowflies tends to win. Can XC do anything about this? Well, he can hope his opponent doesn't have Savage Roar, is the plan he's going for. And Tianming does have Savage Roar, so it's 1-0. 7 4s are 28, plus 2 is 30. Don't blame him for double checking there. Tianming, one of the lesser impressive players for me so far. I don't think he's been particularly bad. And certainly being part of VK is bringing all of the organisation along. Having Lion, the world champion, on your team helps a bit. But Tianming has felt like the odd one out just a little bit in this team. Still, 1-0 start today. And big deal if he can get this done. It looks like Suning are going to be one of the teams that don't get into the playoffs, and it's between LP and VK for the other spot to not make it. So every win seemingly vital here. Okay, XC queuing up the Mage. And I confess I need to have a look at the deck list. I just assumed, given that every single Mage for the last million years has been the exact same thing, I did do the bad thing and assume that this wasn't going to be some sort of crazy deck. But it is some sort of crazy deck. It is a tempo Mage, which we haven't seen like forever. So let's see. I haven't got this open in front of me with all the card names. Let's see how we go. I have the card names, but the cards are translated from Chinese, which doesn't always work well in terms of understanding them quickly. They always make sense. Like Mana Hurricane is in hand, the 2-mana Cyclone, of course. Just a case of getting my brain around them. So interesting, to say the least. And he queued this pretty rapidly, so this is probably why it's here. Just having a look through, there are 2 Conjurer's Calling, 2 Mana Giants, a Sea Giant, 2 Frost Novas. It is basically the old Conjurer's Calling deck with some bits and pieces of modern technology thrown in, but it is make a giant, play Conjurer's Calling, and off you go for the large part here. You will hear me clicking around, just making sure I get as much of this deck list as possible. There we go. So, generating cards, get the Mana Giant cheap, and Conjurer's Calling it. Kind of how it used to work, but a much more clunky version than playing Mountain Giants. And honestly, I've seen nothing like this throughout the whole of the meta. Well, it's going to have to prove its worth soon, because Tianming is about to have a monstrous looking turn. And I'm not sure how the Mage gets to cope with this. So, Sorcerer's Apprentice into lots and lots of spells, I assume. Into a Mana Cyclone. And that should make the Giants cheaper, and this is a turn. Is that 5 spells? 4? I don't even know anymore. It's a lot of spells. And here's a Cyclone. Let's do it all again. Plenty more where that came from. What is this nonsense? I love it. Absolutely loving this. Yeah, Tianming, head in hand, is like, have you finished? Are we nearly there yet? Well, we are nearly there. And after all that, XC has put 5 attack on the board. Good for him. But next turn, joking aside, is where it is at. He's going to be able to get these Giants down for 0 mana. And possibly Conjurer's Calling as well. Although that seems slightly unlikely at the moment. Meanwhile, Tianming has just ignored all that nonsense and continued to make massive Druid things. It's going to be up to XC to try and turn this around. Starts it off with another no-mana spell. Oh my. Well, I wasn't expecting to see this today. XC now got to plan his turn. I mean, one mistake and he dies. He's expecting a Savage Draw. He's just had a Savage Draw in double quick time, finish him off. So he now has to make sure that doesn't happen to him again. Just getting a whole list of Mage spells up, just so I don't make any silly mistakes. It's pretty difficult because he's trying to do his own thing, but Tianming having such a powerful start, as Druids do, have not made it possible. So he has gone for the 1 Conjurer's Calling. That's pretty good. Tianming's face says, hey, XC, that's pretty good, mate. I like it. He doesn't like it. You can tell he doesn't like it by the fact that there is steam coming out of his ears. But he is still chewing through all of this. Remember that the 12/12 can't go face, so even though it's a threat to his board, it's not a threat to his well-being. And it has got rid of the lion's share of the difficulties here. I'm not saying it's going to stay that way, because honestly, I haven't got a clue. But he's getting somewhere. Trying to protect both Mount Sellers. Even though it won't fill the board up, keeping them both alive seems critical to winning this game. And now he'll be hoping for some respite. XC has done absurd things the last 2 or 3 turns. But Tianming will be hoping that he's seen the last of all the nonsense. Spoilers! He hasn't. This craziness waiting to occur. This looks like a really hard deck to play. Not because it's particularly incredibly difficult. We saw much of 2019 people playing Mana Cyclones and Giants and Conjurer's Callings, and yeah, they learn the deck easy enough. But we haven't played a deck like this for a year. So that's the difficult part, is adjusting to the current meta. And you would assume that XC was quite happily testing this all week and wanted to bring it. So, not dead. He would have been dead to, let's have a look, 7, 9, 14, 16 double Savage Roar. Not really likely to happen, so he just builds another board. XC's still on 30, by the way. Why wouldn't you be? Still got so many Conjurer's Callings to go. And that's the problem. Tianming finding it very difficult to clear things up, because all the time he's spending clearing things up, he must feel like he's getting nowhere. But if he doesn't, he just gets another Conjurer's Calling and it all falls apart for another turn. I don't know. This is actually... I'm joking a bit, but this is not easy. I think I want to put Mooklet on my face into the 6/6. That's the thing that just feels like I should be doing. No, I don't want to put the Mount Seller into anything. Don't feel that that's optimal. Oh, where do you go from here? This. Yeah, he changed his mind at the end. I'm pretty sure that turn wasn't ideal, but maybe it was. It just looks a bit grim. Oh my goodness. I'm having so much fun watching somebody else's misery. I probably should get that sorted out. Oh my. Yeah, Tianming has moved around in his chair in a very expressive way through the entirety of this. He's trying so hard to get something going. But this deck that I haven't seen, not in this meta, is absolutely trouncing him, and it just seems unfair at this point. That's lethal on board, right? Yeah, it's lethal on board. Tianming gives it up. It's 1-1. And we get to see that again because it's last hero standing, which means I once more have to somehow muster the ability to talk about cards that I just wasn't prepared for at all. I think I knew what everything was there, to be fair. Luckily, we've seen this sort of deck before. We know how it works to some degree. I don't know what the prep time is between deck announcement and being played in this. Something I should probably ask somebody at some point. But I don't think it's long. So I don't know how many times Tianming would have got to jam this particular matchup, or any of these matchups against this obscenity of a deck. And I don't want it to sound like I'm being detrimental to the deck, because I think it's great. Chenvala, by the way, is the 3-mana elemental. After you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 elemental. Well, we've seen the ability to cast 3 spells in a turn is pretty easy in this deck. Obviously made easier by the twin spell cards, Rare Frost, etc. And we're going to see it now. Doesn't have to do it, but why wouldn't you want a 5/5 is my argument. Let's see. Would everything would die to a Dark Skies should he create a 5/5, but it's not really setting him back. I guess what's setting him back is that he wouldn't have a Cyclone and he wouldn't be able to get a good Cyclone. So I guess he had a consideration there to just Arcane Intellect and slow everything down, just put the brakes on. Because if this does get cleared up, maybe XC doesn't do much for a few turns, and you can't afford to do that against the Warlock. So Dark Skies off the top, for instance, would have been really good for Tianming. But as he doesn't have it... Whew, this is a lot of damage. Because he didn't have the answer. And because he doesn't have the answer, he's now got to tell XC, hey XC, I don't have the answer. Load up the board some more, will you? To which XC is going to say, yep, I'll load that board up. And he's going to walk into a rain of fire. Or even better. Yeah, the Netherwing off the top. I don't like how Tianming just straight up threw this on the board, by the way. We've seen a lot of the players in the Gold Team Championship take their hand away from their mouse and think, and then make their play. Tianming had a perfectly acceptable secondary play with Blood Mage Thalnos and the Rain. Picked up the Netherwing, which obviously is a super good play, and Windmill slammed it. There's no hurry. One of you is just a little bit tilted by the fact the last game was ridiculous, but in a beautiful way. XC has lethal opportunities here, I believe. Yeah, so Sorcerer's Apprentice into Evocation into Fireball, which would cost 3, would be lethal. Is it there? I have to admit that the blurriness is making it a little bit more awkward for me, but I know that he's after direct damage here. Things costing 0, he's just getting them out of his hand. He's going to get a lot of damage connected to face, obviously, but it looks like he didn't get the damage required to win the game, as far as I can tell. Big benefit of freezing up these minions, though. Obviously, they're there. Dark Skies off the top won't clear. There is coin and Twisting Nether available, but there's a secret up. So Tianming once again in a bit of a corner, and it is a counterspell. So the coin would get counterspelled here if he went for that play. With no Moarg, he can't even gain a large amount of health. Ordering it correctly, though. Realising that counterspell is a big issue here. And does at least manage to clear up everything. So last turn's Netherwing. Definitely correct. And he's got himself into an okay position. I don't know how or where, but he has. So XC is now on plan B, which looks like Puzzle Box to me. Oh, Solarian Prime is also a decent deal. As is just getting a big board again. Still buying himself plenty of time. And Tianming is like melting into his chair. It's like, I am losing to a deck that doesn't exist. Somebody send help. But he's got to help himself here. He's got plenty of ways to interact, at least. He can Alex himself up to 15, but that doesn't work until next turn. Does have the Sense Demons to do some healing. The real issue is dealing with his 6/6 right now. So sensing some demons. Gets the Moarg. Wow. And there were plenty of options here. And this one seems fine, but again, he seems to be playing a bit rapidly. XC does only have one sensible play. Let's see where these go. Any sort of removal spell to pick this off will end the game. I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? The game won't actually be ended, but it will be ended. Because look at this situation with the box still to come. We have seen Warlocks come back from these before, though. So maybe I shouldn't be quite so disdainful. Tianming. Well, he can stay alive by Alexing himself. I don't think he's going to go for that option. Goes for the Nether. Get rid of the problems first. He's down to 5 health. Not sure what he's supposed to do from here. Alright, yeah, XC knows this can go wrong, but you've got to do it. Here comes the box. Everybody loves a box. Nice start for him. I'm not going to commentate on it, am I? Yes, looks like I am. Holy Nova no longer does damage to face. Huffer? Not Huffer. I don't even know what that was. Some Murloc nonsense. Maybe the one that fetches all the Murlocs out your deck. Makes 5 Murlocs. That one. Not able to do much, but he's okay. He's okay, alright. I think he saved the mirror here. Next turn... Oh, but mirror gives you Dark Skies protection. I keep on about that card. It's very weird talking about a card that's not in Tianming's hand, but he only has 12 cards left in his deck, so he has a good chance of hitting Dark Skies. So, big decision here for XC, whether to put more health on the board, or whether to save this for the Apprentice next turn, which will be, in a lot of ways, a much better turn. But look at Tianming's situation now. He's just got nothing left in terms of winning the game. And it looks like it's time for XC to do that thing where he makes all the cards and goes crazy and makes me laugh. Nope, it's not that time. It's just time to hit your opponent and do all the crazy things when you need to, but at a later date. Well, Tianming, is he dead? Feels like he's dead. He's one off, I think, right now. No, it's got to be. It's not dead. And the health gain there, of course, means he's nowhere near dead. But double mana cyclone, he's going to be kind of dead. It's just all incredibly silly. He's not going to be able to play the mirror because it's making space for these cyclones right now. It feels like XE is just constantly doing stuff as well. It amuses me more than it probably should. But really, it's all just completely nutty. He's obviously played this a lot. Like, he's playing it at speed like rogue players play. Experienced rogue players. This is how it feels. The rope's not even started burning yet, and he's done more actions in this turn than I've done all day. Yeah, and I think Tianming can finally just... Yeah, good man. Just taps into the second Dark Skies and holds his nose like he has been punched there, because XC has come along with a deck for this week completely and utterly out of nowhere. And now he has to play against Warrior with it. Surely this can't beat Warrior as well, because otherwise everyone's playing this deck next week. But if he just sweeps with this rubbish, then everyone's bringing the deck next week, and that'll be the end of it. Right, let's have a look at it from Tianming's perspective, because otherwise I'm just going to have giggling fits for the rest of the day. Tianming has sensible cards. It's not the best opening hand, but it's fine. A weapon and some board presence from turn 2 onwards is absolutely fine. You don't mind burning the coin. The problem he's having, and he didn't seem to have this problem last game, is trying to work out what he needs to do. And he's happy to get the risky skipper out, which I think means he's going to go for the bomb Wrangler on 2 and try and race this to some degree. The skipper shouldn't be killable on this turn. It does play around this Star Sky pretty well as well. XE was planning to play Star Sky, while now Tianming would kill that with the Bomb Wrangler just because the skipper would do 1 damage. It actually looks pretty good. Just keep his cool. He's on a really good Hearthstone team. He's obviously a talented player. You don't get onto VK if you're not talented. And obviously this is not working out how he wants. Just needs to keep it together a little. getting a lot of experience, VK, and it's something that I'm going to keep an eye on as well over the course of this season. Just the up-and-coming players. And yeah, that's how the game plans out. And Tianming in a good spot now. Mage isn't particularly well equipped, I don't think, to deal with being bashed about heavily early on. Mainly because, not because it's got a problem stopping the beatings, as you see here, they have stopped. But recovering from a low hand size is going to be an issue, I think. See if that proves to be true, because I could be talking nonsense. I have not played this deck. Sorry to let you all down. And the last time I saw decks like this was 2019. I saw a lot of them, so we should have some ideas. But yeah, going low on cards means getting down a big giant or whatever is going to be harder, which means that getting a decent Conjurer's Calling is going to be more difficult as well. There's that one sea giant, of course, Tianming needs to be aware of to some degree. And now I think it's got to be tempting to just jam the cork on Elite and get in lots of damage. An average of 5 from the bombs will happen here. He gets 2. Gotta not let those things bother him, but they are amusing me. But yeah, now next turn he has the beautiful situation to be able to play the Mercenaries and Battle Mage in some situations. Not this situation. XC has killed off everything on the board. Does manage to complete the quest to get his 6/6 up and protect it, so it is still possible for this Mage to sweep. And if that survives one turn, the Conjurer's Calling is going to become a problem. Not sure Tianming can actually deal with it. So he needs to steel himself a bit here. How's he going to proceed with these Battle Rages? This isn't easy. Okay, I hadn't seen this line, but it was a bit of a desperation line, and it's worked out for him. I think he should swing with a weapon here. Yeah. Don't know what you might pick up that you can play. Faces into faceless. They're all going to be nice and big. And the Amet maybe just enough to slow XC down. Never mind. That's an Auctioneer. So Tianming is finally going to get to use the Battle Rages here. Good patience. I've been a little bit critical of the speed of his play, but this is nicely done, and this is looking extremely good for him, and he's earned this one. Surely he's got to get rid of the Auctioneer. He's going to draw a load more cards. Does he need to? Well, I feel like it's a difficult decision. So he's never going to be in a better spot than that to get these cards. Yeah, it's fine. The only other thing he could really do in the real world was Rampage up, which is what I would have done. Get myself a nice big minion somewhere. But actually, I think he played that right. And he did think when it mattered, took his time. Well, that's the end of the Conjurers, and with 10 cards in hand now, Tianming only needs to have a half sensible turn, and he should get this done. Looking good for it. Just going to get his deck list up as well, but looking for all the world like we're going to get into a game number 5 now. And the Mage! We're going to see the back of this silly Mage. which I think he'll be pretty pleased about. Chance for VK to get ahead of LP in the standings. Only 3 matches after this one for them. This being the start of week 8. Right. I thought that was last chance for XC, but he's holding Evocation for even longer. I thought he'd go Evocation and then Mana Cyclone. But he's gone the other way. And whatever he does, basically, for the sake of this commentary, is correct. Because it's going to be more correct than I would play. But I'm curious to know why he's holding the Evocation for so long. It doesn't feel to me, having played a lot of Warrior, thankfully I've played one of these decks, that he has that much time. Like, it feels to me like he's dead really soon, and he should know he's dead really soon. But next turn will make or break me. He does have the option for Giant, Evocation, Conjurers next turn. He has made a 6/6. Maybe I'm just ahead of the game too much here. Maybe he's actually okay. A lot of messing around for Tianming. I don't know if he's got a weapon left. I think he has. He used a lance earlier on. He burned Ankar, I believe. So the second lance is all that's left. He's having to take this down because of the ruinous nature of Conjurer's Calling. And he's also not in a hurry because he doesn't need to be, which is cool.
Whoa, legend!
Kind of an ABC turn, but it makes sense. Do you need that out? Why not, I guess? Just wants to empty his hand. Right, and this should be the turn from XC where he gets to... Oh, okay, now it definitely is. You can just straight up Giant Conjurers, but he may Evocation first. We'll give him the chance to play a couple of things. And he's saving... I know why he's saving now. He's saving that for when he gets Sorcerer's Apprentice. Pretty obvious, but... There you go. He had the Sorcerer's Apprentice in the other game, so I just assumed it was always there, I guess. Well, we know that the Warrior deck doesn't deal with big things very well. This seems like a fairly ideal time to put big things out there. I can see the worry with the Armorsmith. But a wall of 8/8s and nothing really matters. Okay, that'll do. And pressure back on Tianming again to get rid of these 2 minions. Give this. Why haven't we seen this Mage deck all year? It looks great. It's remarkably resilient with the card draw. Tianming still okay. I think he's trying to work out how to get maximum injuries to get the cost of this brute down, and then he can proceed to get some good stuff. That's not going to happen, so instead he's going to get 2. This is a beautiful play. Going to get 2 5/9s and give them rush. And actually gets rid of Geppetto as well, and that should be enough to secure the game. That's a great play. Giving rush to the challenger. Not an instinctive play because it's already attacked, so everybody knows the mechanic, but it's one of those mechanics that your brain doesn't necessarily go straight to. Especially in an uncomfortable situation like playing a deck you're not used to playing against. Obviously still some issues here, as you see from the Doomsayer play, but he can deal with this with Grom should he want to use his face in Grom. There's probably other ways of dealing with it as well, just using the Brute actually. More damage if he wants it. Brute's probably better than Grom. You'd rather Grom in your hand because it's got charge, not rush. And at some point you would imagine that this is enough, but I feel like I've said that 5 turns in a row, and every turn XC, as now he's got the Apprentice, is going for the Evocation. There's so many 1 mana spells. So much better. Look at this. That's why he's been waiting. Yeah, every time I say I think it's over, it just goes crazy on the other side. First time I've seen him pause for breath. Just go for Khadgar number 2. Might get a triple if he gets another one. Battlegrounds is a part of this tournament. Separated. Separate winners, but even so. They do show Battlegrounds and then they show the Grandmaster games. Or the Gold Team Championship games. Pardon me. Which is this equivalent of our Grandmasters. Well, Evocation done a whole bunch of nothing here. As it does that quite a lot. There are a lot of garbage mage spells, it turns out. But XC is still on 28 and does still have a hand that is keeping up in size somehow with Tianming, who is playing double faces in this instead of eggs. I think we talked about this last week as some tech that we hadn't seen in Grandmasters, but we've only seen it in Gold Team Championship. Interesting. Has he used? Maybe he's used both in a rage. I have kind of lost track, I've got to admit. Or maybe he just felt that he wasn't getting enough pressure on. With only 6 cards left in his deck, he has kind of got to do something. But XC, as you can see, is struggling to generate a game now. Still has massive turn potential with the Khadgars and the Conjurers. So don't write that off. But Tianming does seem to have this game, albeit I'm tentative about it, does seem to have it under control-ish. So doing various tests for the secret. I think he probably knows its counterspell by now. He actually hovered over the Corsair Cache at the start of the turn, so I think he knows. Or at least has a strong idea. It's pretty hard playing against this deck. You've got to play around pretty much every card in Mage and some others on top. And I'm sure, like it got to when it ruled the roost briefly in 2019, I'm sure that when you play against it a lot, you just get a feel for what's going on. But as I keep stressing, we have not seen this for a while. Oh my, this is going to be so much stuff. So much stuff. He's trying to work out whether he needs 2 Khadgars or not. You always need 2 Khadgars. Yep. Always need it. I don't have no idea if it's correct or not, but surely it's right. Well, as it happens, he was probably better off the other way, because he'd have got more taunts. But imagine if it was the other way around. How ridiculous it might have been. Can you imagine Tianming's face there if there'd been like 4/4/4 taunts spring up? I think he might have lost it. Have no idea if he's prone to tilt. He looks a bit prone at times with his expressions, but I again imagine that he's absolutely fine. And he takes it to 2-all, and yeah, look at that relief. Absolutely out of his mind against that deck, and now he gets to play some Hearthstone that he recognises, and he's going to be in a great spot because he's going to have the warrior against the demon hunter. That's why it's so important to him. But also, he's now going to be playing Hearthstone that he's played before, rather than whatever we just saw from that mage. We're going to see it again later in the week as well. XC's playing twice. He gets to keep the same decks. We will see more of that mage in a day or two's time. In fact, let me check the schedule now. I'd be tempted to ban it, I really would. It's the last game of the week. No, it's the last game of day 3. We will get to see IG playing World Elite. So if you want to see that deck again, look out for the IG World Elite clash in a couple of days' time. And again, it may get banned, who knows, but presumably it won't. And World Elite will be glad to have a couple of days to play against that. Anyway, here we are. It is time for VK to edge towards 50% if they can take this one down. Tianming already seems a little more comfortable with the things. I certainly am, even if he's not. Maybe I'm just projecting. Maybe it's me that's relieved. Tianming was fine all along. So having the risky skipper against Demon Hunter is such a big deal. It changed a little bit after the nerfs because the Demon Hunters went with more 3 health minions, but originally with all the 2 health minions, Risky Skipper would just tear through them. It still tears through 3 health minions, just does it a bit later. And Tianming, who found that beautiful turn to take control of the last game, having a long think about this. Challenger to kill off the 4/3 is usually my preferred way here. But it does then leave you with only 2 minions for next turn, and that can go wrong. You're relying on bombs to some degree. But yeah, I think this makes sense. Just reset the game. You're not taking too much damage. Worry about the consequences next turn. There's not many outs in terms of picking up a minion that he can cast. Just one of each of the 1-drops left. But there's bombs can activate, and he can pick up weapons, Corsair caches, lots of good things going on here. And XC makes a play that I don't think many people would make here, and just gets in there before any accidents happen. With the cane, recognising that there's a bomb wrangler being played for suspicious reasons, and that things might go wrong. The downside is he's going to lose his board, but the upside is the bomb wrangler didn't go nuts, and he's still absolutely fine with the rest of his hand. Tianming just trying to get his ordering right here. He's definitely feeling the pressure. I don't think that is me being facetious. I think he's struggling with the pressure a little. He is playing the best players week after week, and he's reasonably new to the scene, so it's great to see VK taking on an up-and-coming team. It's already got them the world champion, this strategy, and I'm sure it will get them many more to come. XHX in particular looking very, very good. This one's in the balance though, but Tianming does have all the good stuff that you want in the matchup. Big board that Demon Hunter struggles to deal with. It's not over. XE has Altruist in good position. Does have double Scoundrel. Still got enough health to survive a turn or two. Not worrying too much about giving away the armor. This is okay. Not being overly greedy with the Altruist, just keeping yourself in there. Tianming is, after all, slowly running out of cards. XC is going to need some help from these scoundrels, I feel, though. Facing down 9 a turn, plus Corcoran. The problem he's facing now, so what he wants to do is to play the Adept and kill something. But the trouble is with this play, and that's what he's going to do, is it doesn't advance his game plan. He knows this probably gets dealt with and then he's back where he was. But sometimes you just have to do it. Tianming also is not really getting anywhere fast. He's gone all in here. Not keeping back the pirate for any weapon because the weapon is not forthcoming, even though there are 5 cards in his deck that are either the weapon or will fetch the weapon next turn. But he's seen Altruist, and that's always a good sign when you are playing as the warrior, because the Altruist having gone just gives you license to do this wide stuff. You sometimes do it anyway, but when Altruist is gone, you know you're safe to do it. Was that necessary for an extra 2 damage? I mean, it sets up lethal, but lethal was there anyway. I don't think he needed to do that. I think that Inner Rage will be just useful for the rest of the game. That 2 damage can be assigned any time. If it doesn't get assigned, you've lost anyway, right? Because now the 6/4 trade's in anyway. Yeah, and this hasn't worked out well. And the pickup of the Soul Cleavers actually completely destroyed him there. And it wouldn't have been as good. You know, sorry to point it out and all that, but it wouldn't have been as good had he not injured his own minion. But he has plenty of time. He has 35 health to play with. As we see though, XC has picked up a skull, which is going to definitely increase the speed at which he gets things done. And Tianming, I don't know how much of this is his fault. He's definitely not played this game particularly great. That Inner Rage made no sense to me at all, but he can definitely play this game. We saw last game how well he played to finish off the Mage when he finally got himself calmed down. But this has gone horribly for him. I think he needs a Battle Rage plus unspecified other help here. Well, there's the Battle Rage. Let's see what the unspecified other help is going to be. It needs to be good, I'll tell you that much. Mercenaries, maybe? There's a Mercenaries. Is that enough? He finally gets his weapon. I was thinking Mercenaries and trade something off, but maybe this is better. I'm just counting because there's a lot of damage out there. Wow. Second skull, but is it even needed? How much damage is there? 17. He needs to find... So there's 18. He needs to find 7. That looks like 6. Have I counted incorrectly? That looks like more. The weapon as well. Plus the 4. I think this is lethal, but my brain has decided to stop processing it. Pretty sure this is lethal, in fact, now. Yep. He's filled up his board, though. He's filled up his board. It's one off. If he loses here, which he doesn't, to Grom, he would be so upset. Oh my goodness, what an error there from XC. He is a little bit prone to that sort of thing, but Tianming can't punish it. XC gets the job done once again. And IG go to 11 and 4.